All right, hello class. This is Mr. Walker here, and this is our last video concerning converting repeating decimals into fractions. Now, for this next way that I'm about to show you, this is kind of a shortcut in order for you to turn repeating decimals into fractions. Now, I'm going to remind you, just like most shortcuts, this does not work for every single type of repeating decimal. The method that I showed you in our notebook, that works for every single repeating decimal that you're going to interact with. So I would personally yield to that method more than this. So first, let's take a look at this. Now, for this method, it's just like most, shortcuts, it's a little trick for you to be able to figure it out. So this kind of involves us looking at this repeating decimal like how we were looking at decimals in our last unit and turning those into fractions. So let's take a look at this. We have 0.2 repeating. Now, remember when we had a decimal like 0.2, in order to turn it into a fraction, we just take a look at the place value. We know that this is the tenths place. So that means that if I wanted to turn this into a fraction, I would just put it as 2 over 10. Now, since this is a repeating decimal, this isn't going to be exactly over 10 because I know if I took this and turned it into a decimal, I would get 0.2. In order for me to turn this into a fraction like this using the shortcut, I just take the place value that the repeating digit is in, and then I'm just going to subtract that place value by 1. And that's going to turn into our denominator. So let's take a look at it. We're going to take 0.2 repeating. Actually, let me make that decimal just a dot. There we go. So this right here, this is the tenths place. So I know that normally I would put this fraction over 10. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this 10 here and I'm just going to take 1 away from it. And that's going to turn it into a 9 for its denominator. So instead of me having 2 over 10, I'm going to have 2 over 9. Now, if I wanted to go through and check that, I could just use my calculator like I normally do to check out my decimal. So let's see. If I take 2 and divide it by 9, I'll end up getting 0.2 repeater. Now, you could go through and use the previous method to this, but this does work for this. So that means that our answer for this will be 2 over 9. Sorry, for some reason it stopped letting me type. Okay, there we go. 2 over 9. Nice and quick and easy. All right, let's look at another one like this. Now, this is for a number that we have that doesn't have everything repeating in its decimal. So we're going to do the same type of thing, but now what we're going to do, we're going to actually make 2 fractions. First off, we're going to separate this repeating decimal into 2 things. I'm going to separate it into 1 and that 0.6 repeating. Now I'm taking the 6 repeating, that's after the decimal, and I'm separating it from the 1. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn both of these into fractions, and then I'm going to add them. So, using our little trick before that we just did, we know to turn this into a fraction, I'm going to take it and put it over 10, which is the tenths place, minus 1. And then I'm going to put that 6 on top. Now, once I simplify this, I know that 10 minus 1 is 9. And up top, I have 6. Now, I can go through and I can actually reduce this more, but for right now, we're just going to leave it like this. Actually, we can't reduce it. I think that both of these get reduced by 3, so that could be 2 over 3. So this can be 2 over 3. Now what I'm going to take is 1 as a fraction, and we're just going to put that over 1 plus 2 over 3. Now we want to get a common denominator here because that's 1 and that's 3. That means I got to multiply this side here by 3. So this is going to turn into 3 over 3, and that's plus 2 over 3. Up top, that's going to give us 5. On the bottom, 3. Now, let's check this with our calculator to see if it works. So we have 5 divided by 3. That gives us 0.666667. Now, this 7, this is just a rounding thing that all calculators do when you get a repeating decimal. So this is the same as 0.6 repeating, sorry, 1.6 repeating. So that means our answer is 5 over 3. Now, like I said, this method does not work for every single type of repeating decimal. This works for real simple ones. If you look at these ones that we've done, these are similar to the first 3 examples that we did in the notebook, but for the 4th type, this method does not work. So that, remember, if that 4th one that has some of the things repeating, some of them not repeating after the decimal place. So for those types, it's not the best to use this method. It's better for you to use the one that's in our notebook. Now, I don't give you a slide for this method in the notebook, so you're going to have to go through and just write this down on your own and just give it a little bit of practice. So, just one more time, just for the road, we know I could turn this into 1 over 10 minus 1, which is 1 over 9. And if I check that with the calculator, 1 over 9 is 0.1 repeating, which is this decimal right here. We're going to go through a bit more of this when we come in class, so don't fret, don't feel any type of way. I'll see you then, okay?